شكرا سيد الرئيس.
Thank you, Mr. President. Permit me at the outset to extend, in the name of the government of the Syrian Arab Republic, our condolences to the government and people of Nigeria, given the terrorist acts that battered Kano and Tus cities and took the toll of hundreds of innocent civilians. We sympathize with the relatives of the victims. I would like to start my statement with this condolence because all of us around this round table feel the enormity of terrorism. None of you feels that as we the Syrians feel it. Mr. President, some member states introducing this draft resolution while dealing with the Syrian situation remind me of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in the novel of the Scottish writer Robert Stevenson. Those states are trying to impersonate the role of Dr. Jekyll, the good guy, by promoting noble principles, while in reality they represent Mr. Hyde, the evil guy. This evil role is manifested through their involvement in backing terrorism in Syria and contributing to the continuation of Syrian bloodshed and shedding crocodile tears over bloodshed in Syria. The hands of Mr. Hyde, ladies and gentlemen, are stained with Syrian blood, although he falsely claims his friendship for the Syrian people. So much so that even the former president of the so-called Syrian coalition, mentioned by my colleague, the permanent representative of Russian Federation, I say the former president of so-called Syrian coalition, a coalition pre-orchestrated and manufactured by those who call themselves friends of the Syrian people, described himself a few days ago. Those friends, and I quote, half of them are liars, imposters, and hypocrites, and they are responsible for the conditions we are witnessing today in Syria, adding that the West seeks to partition Syria, end of quote. This is the statement of a former president of the Doha coalition that was manufactured in well-known capitals. It is a mere coincidence that history presents lots of evidence authenticating this fact. On this day in 1945, the Syrian delegation was participating in the San Francisco Conference for the efforts of drafting the Charter of the United Nations, during which a formulation of Article 78 of the UN Charter was reached, and it guaranteed that Syria would not become a territory under French mandate. Dear colleagues, the occupying French authorities on the day of May 29, 1945, bombed the Syrian parliament and killed its garrison. Thus, since war crimes are not subject to the statute of limitation, as we heard, we demand that the Security Council hold the French government accountable for the crimes that were committed against the Syrians and the peoples of many countries it had previously occupied and looted their resources. We call upon the French government to apologize in public and to pay compensation to our people. We wish to assure that the Syrian people will not forget the Sykes-Picot Agreement and also the subsequent dislodging of the Syrian Iskandron region by France and handing it to Turkey. In addition, the people of our region will never turn a blind eye to the fact that France is the one who introduced Israeli nuclear terrorism to the region. Mr. President, the structure of international legal system is based on fundamental pillars, most important of which is the fact that states hold the primary responsibility and exclusive responsibility for accountability and establishing justice on their territory. As a result of the regrettable events affecting my country, the Syrian government has taken a series of measures designed to hold accountable those involved in the events and to take legal action against them accordingly. The National Investigation Committee continues to do its job in parallel with the Syrian judiciary, which is looking into thousands of cases since the start of the crisis, 30,000 cases, and has issued rulings for those involved and has settled the conditions of others. This confirms the desire and ability of the Syrian government to achieve justice and negates any pretext to involve any international judicial body that clashes with our national judiciary powers. The Syrian crisis has unveiled the level of hegemony of double standards on the mechanisms of the United Nations and using them to target certain member states in specific regions in the world in the name of law and justice. As a continuation of this approach, a group of member states submitted the draft resolution before us today, a draft that is apolitical, discriminatory, and interventionist par excellence. This draft aims at disturbing the presidential elections in Syria and reshuffling the cards, fueling the crisis, and achieving the goals of a propaganda show. This draft seeks to involve the Security Council in the hysteria of hostility adopted by some member states towards Syria and its people. Tabling this draft resolution represents a ceaseless attempt by some states to arrogate to themselves the right to be custodians of the Syrian people and its national choices. This attempt constitutes an open disregard for the will of the Syrian people and starkly contradicts the recurrent confirmation of the Security Council of its strong commitment to the sovereignty of the Syrian Arab Republic, its independence, unity, and territorial integrity, and to the call for a Syrian-led political solution for the Syrian crisis. Moreover, the grounds presented by the sponsors to justify the request of referral to the ICC are nothing but mendacious allegations and fabricated lies contained in politicized and biased reports that absolutely defy reason. Those reports are provided by committees that ignored all the complaints, documents, evidence, and proofs provided by the Syrian government. Those reports effectively contribute to serving the agendas of states engaged in hostile campaign against my country, Syria. Mr. President, the Syrian Arab Republic believes in international criminal justice and was among the active states during the Rome Conference, which adopted the International Criminal Court Statute. Syria was among its initial signatories. The Syrian perspective stems from the need for justice to be inclusive and transparent, far from being politicized, selective, and subject to double standards. Against this background, Syria called for the inclusion of the crime of aggression in the court's jurisdiction as the mother of all crimes. However, that was turned down. Therefore, my country has not ratified the Rome Statute. Today, the government of the Syrian Arab Republic emphasizes that the achievement of justice requires the following. First, holding accountable the governments of Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, France, Israel, and other states that are inciting openly violence and terrorism, including those through funding, arming, sponsoring, training, recruiting, and facilitating the crossing of thousands of mercenaries and terrorists coming from the different parts of the world to Syria, and not only turning a blind eye to their crimes and also describing them as moderate opposition. I would like to convey to you piece of news mentioned by the Commander-in-Chief of the air weapon of Libya. He said that the terrorist Qaeda organization in Libya and the Muslim Brotherhood in Libya together, they sent 224 air flights from Libya to Turkey and from there to Syria to transfer the terrorist mercenaries to Syria.